The title of my message today is Flesh and Blood Revelation. And before you know it, you'll be sharing the grace. I'm always careful in saying this thing. What is revealed to you will determine how you are revealed to your world. It is input that determines output. It is what goes in that determines what comes out. If you eat nothing, you're not going to drop anything. Have you seen somebody who has not eaten for days, who is purging as well? When you go to the toilet, what do you drop? You drop the water that is in your body. Zaratata. Flesh and blood revelation. Your approach to life, your outlook, is determined by what you know. Paul said, I come to you in the volume of the book. He is operating based on the rhema, the revelation, not from flesh and blood, but the revelation from God. Jesus at a certain point came to his disciples and asked them a certain question. And many times we need to ask our disciples this kind of question. In Matthew chapter 16, from verse 13 to 19, Matthew 16, when Jesus came into the coast of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples, saying, whom do men say? Somebody say men. So when we talk about flesh and blood revelation, we are talking about what is revealed by man. It could be another man, and it could be your own man. There are flesh and blood revelations that come to you from the outside, and flesh and blood revelation that come from within you. But it is of the flesh and blood. So when you talk about flesh and blood, you are referring to man. You are referring to a man that is disconnected from God. You're referring to a man that is pouring out his own mind. I love Paul. Paul was so learned. Paul was so learned that he refused to confuse the people when Paul was speaking. Because every word that you have written down today as the Bible were words of the early disciples who spake. Holy men of God, the Bible says, spake as they were inspired, as they were led. And it was written down for our example. But people like Paul will say, I now speak, and now the Spirit. When it is flesh and blood, he will tell you that it is better to be single than to marry. But Paul quickly remembers, because anytime flesh and blood reveals anything to you, the tendency for error is 99%. And so he quickly now said, because he knew, as soon as he said, it is better to be alone than to serve God. You serve God better when you are alone. But you remember that the scripture says, revelation from God says, woe unto he that is alone. It is not good for a man to be alone. Two is better than one. And then he said, yea, it is I that speak, not the Spirit of God. Yes, sir. What he was referring to was the fact that it was a revelation from flesh and blood. It was a flesh and blood revelation. It wasn't a rhema, a revelation from God or the Spirit of God. And whenever he was inspired by the Spirit, he will say, now the Spirit speaketh. It is no longer I that speaketh. When it is blood, flesh and blood revelation, it is I that speaketh. And remember, it was 5 eyes that caused the commotion in heaven that has left mankind where they are. The 5 eyes in heaven. I. Lucifer woke up one day and said, I will ascend above the throne of God. He mentioned 5 eyes, and the last eye said, I want to also be like God. It is I. Whenever there is a flesh and blood revelation, it is I that is speaking. I, the spirit of rebellion. In any gathering, in any meeting, in any family, amongst your children, where you have someone that suddenly becomes, I don't take this, I don't understand this, I will do this, I will not take no that. You should know that the spirit of rebellion has chased away the Spirit of God in the life of that one and has taken root in them. If you don't deliver them, stay away from them. If not, you'll be corrupted. When God speaks, there is no error. So my dear, whenever flesh and blood reveals anything to you, don't run with it. Hear what thou sayest the Lord before you begin to run. Many have run like that and have ended up nowhere. Why? Because they ran with a revelation revealed by flesh and blood. So when Jesus came into the coast of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples, saying, whom do flesh and blood say that I am? Now, let's read that the way it is. Whom do people, come on, go back. Say, whom do men say that I, the Son of Man, am? And look at what happened, verse 14. And they said, some say that at John the Baptist. Were they right? Some Elias, and others Jeremiah, and one of them, or one of the prophets. Some say you're just one of the prophets. These were revelations. Revelations. Be careful with revelation from flesh and blood. If I carry you out here now, and I call not back, they will give their revelation. I call Murukum, they will give their revelation. I call Boko, they will give their revelation. In your family, if I enter your family and pick on one after the other, each of them will give their revelation about you based on how they relate with you. And based on who you are to them and how close you are. I've often sat as a man of God with people during counseling, and I said, how is your relationship with this, your brother? They will come to each other and say, that's one. Very wicked soul. I don't run with it, because there is that which has made man to think that his fellow man is wicked. But that does not make the fellow man wicked. If you run with that revelation and relate with that man as a wicked man, you're running to nowhere. Yes, sir. Revelation, I say, who do people say I am? Or am I? Or am? It's only the Bible English that cannot be marked. Because there is nobody qualified to mark it. If I spoke this one, I'll be in trouble. And And hear what he said in verse 15. He said unto them, I have heard all those revelations. But whom say ye that I am? Who do you say I am? This is revelation from afar. I want to know if you operate by that revelation from afar, or you have your own revelation that can change your revelation from afar. It is foolhardy. It is to a height of stupidity for me to be in a home where is my house, and an outsider is the one telling me how my home is, and I operate by what the outsider tells me. I am a fool. I am a fool. Definition of foolishness is a me. I am in a better position to tell you how my home is. Jesus had this understanding. He said that is revelation from afar. Now, I want to know who you that are the inner caucus say I am. Verse 16. And Simon Peter, that one is quick to talk. Simon Peter answered. You know, Simon means what? A reed. Something that is wavering like this. So even before Jesus said, he started talking. He is quick to talk, quick to err. Simon occasionally will be guided by flesh and blood, and occasionally Simon will wade into the spirit. And look at it now. I was wondering why Jesus said this to him. But I got a better understanding when I studied further. He said, Simon Peter answered and said, Thou art the Christ. It does not matter any revelation from the flesh. I don't know where they got their revelation from, but I know with my walking with you, my stay with you, that thou art the Christ, the Son of the living God. And I know what Jesus said. This is where the message came. Jesus turned to Peter and he answered and said unto him, Blessed art thou. When you refuse to be guided and led, when you refuse to run and operate by flesh and blood revelations, you are blessed. You are a blessed one if you are not guided by flesh revelation. Jesus' attention was drawn to Peter, this time in a better light. He saw Peter like one that has just adjusted to the right element. And he said to him, Blessed art thou. You are blessed, Simon Bar-Jonah. I'll get to that Bar-Jonah. Why are you blessed? You are blessed because flesh and blood had not revealed it unto thee, but my Father which is in heaven. Anytime you speak or act, you're acting based on what flesh and blood has revealed or what your Father in heaven has revealed. It is only you who knows what influences your decision and action. But each time you act in this life, whether you're conscious of it or not, you are acting, you are speaking based on revelation. What is revealed, what you know, either from flesh and blood or from your Father in heaven. When you act in line with what God has revealed, you are called blessed.